Mike Coppinger coming out saying Deontay Wilder's rematch with Luis Ortiz must take place by the end of November, according to the contract the champ signed for his rematch with Tyson Fury. Industry sources tell The Athletic Wilder Fury 2 will be a joint ESPN and Fox pay-per-view and is slated for February 22nd. Now, the date I think is not important because I think, as me and Rob have said numerous times, I think that date will be moved back, but that probably doesn't matter, and that's not the topic of discussion. I think that needs to be had. It is Fox pay-per-view. Like, it's now being attached to the Fox network and not Showtime. And Deontay Wilder, though having fought on Fox before, having fought on other networks before when PBC had the real rampant in 2015 and 16 where they just put a bunch of fights all over the place on ESPN, NBC, Fox, CBS, everywhere, right? Spike TV even. Like, they had fights all over the map. So it isn't a new thing, but it is seemingly shocking when we have been hearing for a long time now that, especially from Steven Espinoza, and we talked a little bit about this yesterday, Rob, which is funny that this is now coming up the next day, that Espinoza was the loudest one saying loyalty, that Deontay Wilder would not leave Showtime. He would not go to DAZN, ESPN, any other network. Why? Because of loyalty. And I mentioned, well, we always heard that from Showtime. Wilder was kind of, yeah, of course, Showtime was great, but he's a fighter, he's going to be nice. But PBC and Al Heyman, or Tim Smith even, obviously, never came out and said, yep, Wilder, loyalty, Showtime. And now the rematch of a Showtime pay-per-view, right, the thing that started the whole, I would argue, PBC run that they're on right now, right, Rob, of just successful events, numbers overall, sort of dominating the U.S. market in a way this year, the last 6-8 months. That started with a Wilder Fury Showtime pay-per-view card that surprisingly did well for two guys in their pay-per-view debuts, and a card that wasn't that stacked. Now he's going to Fox in the rematch. How upset should Showtime be? How upset do you think they're going to be with PBC, Deontay Wilder? Rob, go off, man. I bet you're like over there just laughing your ass off like Dr. Evil when you have a pet cat. You know, you're good.
Nah, I don't want the death of Showtime, but
quickly, Showtime boxing. Showtime is going to be around, like
you know what I mean. Yeah. The boxing show. Come on. But it's just, I don't know. It's just shown what trying to appease two networks, what difficulty that is when you've had such great service from Showtime, possibly in many people's opinion, the best production, the best analysts, the best announcers, basically like the best crew.
They had the gold standard for a while. Yeah.
You know, a lot of people enjoy what's his name? Rano Moralo.
Maranello.
Yeah, that way around.
You were really close.
I know, it's like red lorry, yellow lorry. It's really
the only commentator to do the highest level of every combat sport in the world. Yeah,
for sure. And obviously, whatever people want to think of him, but Paulie usually breaks down fights pretty good. I
love Al Bernstein. Great person on Twitter too. Really objective person.
Yeah, so it's a good team and everything, but Fox has come along with the bigger viewership, many more eyeballs on the sport, many more better for fighters to get that exposure. Seem to give greater push and promotion to fights. I know Showtime have got the 24/7 thing. I mean, it'd be interesting is, do Fox do a 24/7 kind of thing?
Oh, I think they go full out with the Wilder Fury card.
Yeah, I know they do a lot of
like we thought Spence Mikey promo was like almost like egregious. It was that much. This is going to get insane.
That was a lot of just side programming, as in like studio stuff, right?
And think about this. This is going to be right after, in theory, the Super Bowl. So this is going to have a 8 to 12 week promo run of the playoff NFL season. Okay, like it will. I'm really curious to see the increase in viewership, or I should say pay-per-view buys, not viewership, pay-per-view buys with this, because it will be the first time we can probably really compare Fox pay-per-view. And,
it feels like a big fight, this one.
Yeah, a Fox pay-per-view and a Showtime pay-per-view, and then compare, okay, does the Fox promotion actually make a difference? Because we say that it made a difference for Spence Garcia, but Spence never had a pay-per-view on Showtime. You know what I mean? So like it's hard to really say that definitively. If this blows it out, if this is a 600,000 pay-per-view buy rate for a Wilder Fury 2, I think in large part that would be due to Fox. And that would even push PBC, I should say, farther and farther away from Showtime as their network and more to Fox is our future.
That's true, but Showtime could possibly say, but this fight wouldn't be as big if it hadn't been for the first one, which we put on.
No, of course.
Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be hard to maybe gauge because we're not going to know that this would have done 600,000 on Showtime because it's anticipated. Do you know what I mean? Just that kind of point towards it. Look at me defending. Jesus.
I know. I'm shot. But hey.
Even if nose are like, go on, Rob.
No, I understand. No, I like the devil's advocate because I know you don't really believe that. But I like that you're playing it. I don't think that's true. I think if we see a significant increase in pay-per-view buys for the rematch, it will in large part be to the difference in the brand, the difference in the network. I think it's impossible to
sheer exposure to the amount of people that it's available to. Like you say, the push through building up to Super Bowl will be huge. This will be everywhere. Everyone's going to be watching the playoffs and the build up to the Super Bowl. So it's going to get huge. And I think if this doesn't break 500,000, I'll be very surprised.
I think that's probably the barometer they're looking at. Yeah. I think
must be.
I think like 550 is the low end.
Start getting Tyson Fury talking his shit on Fox.
I'll be honest. The best thing would be is to, I don't know, because I was about to say the best thing would be if Fury doesn't have a December fight and he can just be in promo run for the Wilder fight for a good 6 months. However, if the last thing people see of Fury is him fighting Otto Whalen in September, and they don't have till February or March to see the Wilder fight, maybe that does hurt buys. So I don't know. Like they're in a weird predicament with what Fury has decided to do in terms of matchmaking and how that might affect the rematch because he has fight complete dog shit opponents, and on top of that, fought on ESPN Plus. And I'm not the one to really use that as a disparaging remark that hey, DAZN, ESPN Plus, how no one's watching that. But if your entire move to ESPN was to, go to the ESPN audience and really branch yourself out to the U.S. audience, only fighting on ESPN Plus doesn't help that. Sorry. But digressing from this point, I think it is important that we talk about Wilder Ortiz because it is now not official, but now we hear a network attached to Wilder Fury 2. And we have Wilder Ortiz 2 before it in November. Still no network attached to it that we know of.
Not yet.
Thoughts on that? Like, do we think that the deal is made and they're just waiting on the Joshua situation to resolve itself so they can sort of, as all big fights do, sort of attach itself to the other thing that's happening?
Yeah, I mean, that's what Kenneth...
Boye. I think that's how his last name.
He kind of suggested like that it's done. The fight's made. Everything's cool. They're just waiting to announce it. And he said we'll wait until Joshua Ruiz or Ruiz Joshua is settled. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, me being me, settled? What, you're going to wait till December 8th to announce the November 23rd fight? That's an interesting ploy.
Such a smart ass.
But yeah, I mean, look, I guess it makes kind of sense to try and attach it to. But when is that fight going to get... I mean, it's been announced, but it appears it's kind of... I don't know.
Let's admit, though, that press conference was like a 80% announcement.
I don't know. They were all in. They were showing.
Eddie was all in.
Well, yeah.
That one Saudi guy was all in.
The press tour starts first week in September. If Andy Ruiz is there, I guess we get a fight. If he's not,
that's true. We do.
Maybe they did jump the gun, but
we have like 11 days till we know about that shit.
Yeah, that's going to be. Some sources say in the build up to that 11 days. Holy shit. But yeah, I don't know. If Wilder doesn't hurry up.
So, quick answer. Do you think that they do have the network sort of confirmed and they're just waiting to announce it attached to Ruiz Joshua too? Yes or no?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I just
I'll,
think
I'll
Kenneth, who is PBC podcast guy,
yeah.
basically said it's done.
Mm-hmm.
They're just waiting to announce or whatever.
Yeah,
So is the network attached? I don't know. Coppen just seemed to say there's still a back and forth as to is it going to be Fox? Is it going to be Showtime? Showtime are going to be, I don't know, hoping they get this one as well. Because if that's Wilder on Fox for Ortiz and Fox for Fury rematch, then I don't know where Showtime is at the moment now.
I'll be honest. Because you kind of hedged your bets. You played for Gotti over here, sitting on the fence, man. I think they don't have the network finalized for Wilder Ortiz too.
I think Kenneth was kind of protecting.
Yeah, but the fight is done. Like, I think we're getting the fight, but the network's not done. Those are two different things, right?
I mean, look, it's like Joshua Ruiz. It's like Eddie's saying it's done, it's here, it's there, but DAZN isn't attached yet.
Mm-hmm. And like the location, hey, who knows? I could see the location shifting in the next 2 weeks. I could see that happening. It would be shocking. It's a low possibility, but I could see it happening. I'll put it this way. There's a higher possibility of the location moving for that fight than it not being on DAZN.
Yeah, I think DAZN have got this.
You see, you know what I mean? But like DAZN still doesn't have it. The location is kind of set. But digressing from that, Wilder Ortiz 2 is a separate deal entirely from a Wilder Fury fight. So in my mind, this is how I'm thinking. Speculation. I don't have sources, but that's how I'm thinking. Wilder Fury working with Bob Arum, thinking that you're going to have to do a joint pay-per-view already. On top of that, it's a bigger fight. So I think Al Heyman and PBC are thinking, let's maximize this one. So let's make sure this one's on Fox, because that is the bigger network, it's the bigger brand than Showtime. Because this is the fight that will send us to really huge revenue, sort of
make the most money.
Yeah, it would make the most money. It would honestly generate the most income for PBC probably of any fight out there if it's on Fox, right?
Yep.
I think if it's on Showtime, you do hurt that slightly. But Wilder Ortiz 2, their problem with that is not necessarily connected to their thinking with Wilder Fury and trying to maximize it. I think the problem with Wilder Ortiz 2 is, so it's going to surprise you, Rob, the budget. I'll be honest. I think a large part of that is due to the budget. I think they had to pay a lot in back end to Wilder in Brazil to put that fight on Showtime, because they knew they were going to get so much public backlash for that being on pay-per-view. They could not do that. They could not take the loss on it. This one, they're trying to figure out the economics, I think Showtime is, of putting it on pay-per-view, paying everyone what they need, and for the budget to work out to where they can still get Gervonta Davis this year. And especially if they're trying to get a Tevin Farmer fight, that's a huge money fight that they have to, again, try and work out in the budget. So,
knowing that DAZN have put $5 million on the table.
Yeah, I honestly think it's more of a budget issue than anything with Showtime in terms of their boxing budget, because God knows what the back end money looked like for Wilder Brazil, because it was a lot. Everyone said he got paid a lot in the back end. So I'm assuming he got paid a lot in the back end. And Showtime's budget for boxing was like rumored to be around, $60 million? So if you're blowing out $20 million, let's say, $15-20 million on one fighter in one fight, that doesn't include production costs, that doesn't include anyone else getting paid, including the announcers and commentators, not even including the other fighters on the card, right? You're spending almost half of your yearly budget on one card. And I think that's in large part, Rob, why the cards haven't been that great moving forward, why they haven't been able to really bid on a lot of these cards from PBC, because they blew out a bunch of their budget on the Wilder Brazil card, which I understand for them. It got them the best ratings of the year, but I think it was the short-term gain.
It's a short-term gain, yeah. It's like a almost...
If they were smart...
What cost has this cost them?
If they were smart, Showtime... And I'm not going to be like if they're smart. They're smart people, but this was just a misstep. It was a huge misstep. They should have let Wilder Brazil go to Fox.
That should have been the one for me. Yeah.
They would have put that on Fox. It would have saved them tens of millions in the budget to where they could really beef up cards, get more cards throughout the year. On top of that, then get a bigger fight in a Wilder Ortiz 2 down the line. When now they may not get that one. So,
or the other one.
And it was funny. Somebody asked, I think it was the Aficionados podcast. I think somebody asked him, could Showtime and Fox do a joint pay-per-view? And he said, it's not probable, but it's a possibility. I wouldn't be surprised if Showtime actually kind of is modest or humble in the situation and goes, hey, Fox, you want to sort of do something here?
Please.
Please? Because I don't see them wanting to lose Wilder for a Wilder Fury fight and a Wilder Ortiz fight. That would be huge because both of those first fights happen on Showtime.
Remember, we've been loyal. Remember, we're loyal. I don't know. Yeah, I can't see that. But I mean, back to
quick question, because I love this. It's a merging of combat sports by Disabled Sports with Showtime's weak boxing schedule due to PBC's partnership with Fox. Do you think they go after Bellator to make up the lack of dates now that Viacom has merged with CBS? Viacom, the owner of Spike TV, now, which was rebranded as Paramount Network in the U.S. Viacom now owns CBS in a huge giant merger. Shout out to Monopolies and Monopsonies. But Aficionados, talking about Aficionados, actually brought up that Bellator is arguably worth more in terms of, like, if you were to buy Bellator, they will probably ask for a higher value than Showtime Boxing if you were to compare the two. Because Showtime Boxing works off of, like, none of the fighters are on contract. They don't own the fight library, really. Like, there's a lot of things they don't own. Bellator owns everything. They own the fight library. They have the fighter contracts. So, in theory, that's even worth more. Wouldn't be shocked by that. And plus, Scott Coker, the president of Bellator, was the former president of Strikeforce, which was on Showtime. So, we know that Steven Espinoza and Scott Coker have a good relationship. Wouldn't be surprised at all, and that would be a really interesting move. And Metal Box Jay saying DAZN has Bellator locked in. No, they don't. They share a deal with Paramount Network. They do not have an exclusive deal with Bellator. That is wrong. They do have certain cards exclusive, but they do not have a Bellator exclusive deal. That's not true.
I was just going to say I wasn't sure, but what is DAZN's deal with Bellator? What is the situation there? Like,
I forget the exact particulars, but Viacom owns Bellator. Like, that's another thing. Like, Viacom, the owner of Paramount Network, which is like the main network of Bellator, is also the owner of Bellator. So the owners of CBS, the owners of Showtime, also own Bellator. So it's very likely they can merge in a few years.
Just quick Google search. On the 26th of June 2018, DAZN announced a 5-year streaming rights deal with Viacom-owned mixed martial arts promotion Bellator, which began Bellator 206 on 29th of September, and also includes US and all other regions served by DAZN.
Streaming rights, not TV rights.
5-year streaming rights deal.
So TV rights, Showtime is right up that alley. Yeah. But anyways, sorry, digressing back. Wilder Fury is on Fox pay-per-view most likely, per Mike Coppinger. Where does that leave Wilder Ortiz 2? I'm thinking I think Showtime's out of the budget, and they're trying to figure out what they can do. Yeah. And it's very likely we get also a Wilder Ortiz 2 Fox pay-per-view. Would not be surprised.
Yeah, I think so. But very quickly, what about the ESPN portion of the pay-per-view? What
do you mean by that?
How is this going to combine sort of numbers-wise, a joint thing?
So in the U.S., I've told you this before, right? How it would work, right? There's a pay-per-view channel. So, like, I go to 123, and that's HD. I go 124, that's DirecTV.
Would it be the same here, though, do you think?
No, for there, it would be they would try to get...
No. Is that going to be the same in this case, this fight? Because when was the last one? Floyd and Mayweather, right? Joint pay-per-view.
Floyd McGregor, technically, because that would be UFC.
Oh, okay.
And that was also Fox. That was a Fox and Showtime joint pay-per-view. Because remember, the Fox had the prelims and then it went over to pay-per-view. But that was also a Showtime pay-per-view.
I didn't know if,
so that would be the last one, technically.
Right. Okay. No, I just didn't know if you could either buy this through ESPN or you could buy this through
Now,
Fox, or
if
whether it's one
if
one
let's say you
place
want to stream it, right? Like if I want to buy off my desktop or like whatever, you can probably do options like that. Same with
Yeah.
Mayweather McGregor being the example, right? I could go on UFC.com and buy the pay per view through them, or Showtime anytime and buy the pay per view through them, or go to the pay per view channel on my cable box and buy it there, and it's just a single broadcast.
So do you think you're going to get a mixture of commentators, a mixture of
Yeah,
analysts,
yeah.
or will it be
Yes, I
they
do.
do their own
Nope.
coverage of?
Nope. I think you will see a mixture, and they were probably all split the broadcast feed. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a Max Kellerman, Andre Ward, some of those guys be in the mixed here. Maybe a Tim Bradley too, because he's obviously a huge like top ranked company man. Unfortunately, even though I don't think.
Christina Poncher in there.
And for Fox, God, actually, who would I want for Fox? Like, no. Oh my God, the ESPN commentary team's like drastically better than the Fox team. God,
Lennox Lewis.
no. I wouldn't mind Goosen. I wouldn't mind Joe Goosen. He's decent.
I've heard some good things regarding Goosen.
He's good. He's good. Like when he's talking about just the technical side of the game, he's not entertaining at all. So you need someone entertaining with him. So, God, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how they figure out the broadcast team for that one. Because plus there's gonna be like the A team and then the B team. You know, there's gonna be the team that's by the desk and then the team by the ring. So, just curious. Gary's an ESPN team is not terrible. It's not terrible, but it's not great. I'll say that. It's not great. Like, I would say this. The ESPN team has never had a single moment where I go, yeah, I'm going to put that into our intro, right? Like, they've had no, like, quotable moments ever on their broadcast. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but in my mind, it's a bad thing. Anyways, moving on. Let's, Rob, you have anything else to say?
No, let's get some actual clarity on the top end of this division. You know, is Joshua Ruiz happening in Saudi Arabia on December the 7th, or is Wilder fighting Ortiz anytime soon? Are we going to get an announcement? You know, let's just have some things actually locked in. We know it's happening. Everyone's on board, and you know, things can start making sense again. You know, sort of. We can plan the route forward and see what's happening.